Before we begin today's show, today we want to give a big shout out to
Buzz TV. Buzz TV brings you their own spin on Android devices like the Nvidia Shield and the Amazon Fire Sticks, taking software to the next level with their own app helping you stream anything, anywhere. Buzz TV listens to you, the customers, and consistently brings you the latest and greatest when it comes to hardware, software, customer service, and experience right out of the box.
And to find their products, guys, make sure you guys do go to buzztvglobal.com.
Don't forget to click the link in the description below to get yourself the latest Android device right from Buzz TV. With all that being said, let's start the show.
What is up, YouTube, Supreme Bills family? Welcome to Rojas and Next Level's Beyond the Stream show. I'm getting interviewed today, so let's get with it, guys. If you have a YouTube, right, and your YouTube is successful, and let's say it has 50,000 followers or 100,000 followers, and you make an Instagram, and you tell people on YouTube, follow me on Instagram. Barely anyone does. It's so weird. Or vice versa. If you have an Instagram, I know a lot of people in the car scene because I love cars, and I have a whole Instagram for my car, right? And I know people that also are like make great YouTube content for cars, and they have tons of followers on Instagram, 25,000, 30,000, which is a lot for Instagram. They have like 300 YouTube subscribers, and they pump that YouTube into their Instagram constantly. People just don't. I never understood that. Like, if you follow someone and you like their content on one platform, why would you think like not even give them a chance on the other platform?
Right.
It's a weird thing.
I guess I can only answer that for myself because there are people that I know who have YouTube channels, but I'll just check them out for their Facebook stories. Right? Yeah. It's like I'm in a mindset when I open, well, I don't have Facebook anymore, but when I would open my Facebook, I would just specifically look, or I'd be doing a certain thing. And I know that when I did that certain thing in that certain social media, I would look for certain people. Right? And sometimes the content that these people, they would make was completely different. So your Facebook story was more of a vlog, and your YouTube might be different kind of content. So that's a different aspect to it as well, right? So I get it. And as a content creator, I completely get it. I want people to follow me everywhere, right? Yeah. I mean, we put so much effort into being everywhere, because we want people to follow us everywhere, because we know at the end of the day, YouTube is never guaranteed. It is not. Our videos are not guaranteed. I mean, we talked about it before we jumped on here, how you made a video about a remote and that got struck down, right? Yep. It wasn't even about a streaming app. And the party that struck you down was a religious group. It's like, just stop.
I mean, it's a remote control, so I have to show that it works on TV because it's a remote control. Like, I wasn't stealing anything from anyone. 9 seconds, literally, was 9 seconds of a movie on PBS, which I thought would be the safest thing for me to be on.
Public broadcasting, yeah.
You know, I'm like, you can get that over the air. So how am I violating any? You don't have to pay. It's free. You don't have to pay anything.
Right.
You know, but there it was.
It's probably a good conversation to have, because you said, you know, you started off accidentally becoming a YouTuber, right? Yeah, and I have a very similar story. The very first 2 or 3 videos that I dropped on YouTube hit 300,000 views. And I didn't know what I was doing. I just posted something that I didn't see anywhere else. And as I started to get 10,000 views a day, 20,000, 100,000, 300,000, I was like, this is a thing. I guess I'll just keep posting. And I've been chasing that fame ever since. You know what I mean? I can't get 300,000 views anymore. I'm not getting 10,000 subscribers a month. I've been sitting at 30,000 for a little while now, but I can tell you, I have a lot more fun doing what I do now than I did when I first started, right? So I guess walk me through a little bit of that transition of your YouTube career. Like, you started, you didn't know what you were doing. You did it because of a need in the community, and it was a tool that you used to I guess supplement a need that you had. So
yeah, I needed to save time. Like, I was getting hammered, you know, from my family. Like, you do this all day, every day, and you have a job, and you do whatever, and you know, you're not spending time with your family. And so I'm like, all right, let me make these videos and just, that was the beginning of it. Let me make these videos so that I can answer a question with copy and paste, because I didn't want to ignore the end user.
Yeah.
So I made the videos, but then people just started watching them. Like you said, I was getting, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 views. And I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, this is kind of crazy. And then people are commenting like, more content. What can I do? Can you tell me about this add-on? Can you tell me about that add-on?
Now,
and I'm like,
back then, the criteria to become monetized was completely different.
Yep.
I think it was something like 10,000 views or 10,000. It was 10,000 something.
Yeah, it might have been 10,000 views of like total on your channel or something like that. And you could do that in no time.
No time.
It was very easy. So I got monetized quickly. And then I started, I still didn't know what I was doing with the monetization. I thought like, oh, I'll make like, $10 a month or something. Like I had no clue. Like at that point, I never really researched YouTubers, even though I watched YouTube. I never researched and thought like how much money these guys made.
You probably didn't even know about monetization when you started.
No, like not really. I mean, like I knew obviously these people make money somehow. Otherwise, why are they spending so much time here? But I didn't really realize like, still to this day, most of my monetization that I've made comes from YouTube ads. I really don't do a lot of like I haven't done sponsored videos or things of that nature, because I always wanted my content to be if you want to send me something for free and let me make a review on it, I'll do that if I think it's a good product. If I look at the specs of your product, like people always try to send me Android TV boxes, and I'll look at it and it's like an S905X with 1 gig of RAM. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it because I'm going to make your product look like total shit on YouTube, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
So I'd rather be positive and just tell you no up front than, take your product and trash it. I'm just not that person. I don't want to say anything negative about anyone if I don't have to. So,
is that why most of your content has only been about the Shield?
Not really. I think most of my content has really only been on the Shield because that's what I use.
Right.
Like I recommend to people what I use, like going to VPNs. Like IPVanish hit me up, right? they hit up everybody pretty much. Once you have like a certain subscriber base, they come to you and they say, "Hey, do you want to resell IPVanish?" And at the time, I looked at the money aspect of it, and I just said yes because, like, I'm like maybe I can make a few dollars or whatever. But I had never used IPVanish at that point.
Right.
So I went and I used it, and I'm like, I don't like this. Like for me, I just didn't like it.
Right.
I was always using private internet access before that, but they'd never offered me that deal.
Right.
So I said, I can't, in good faith for myself, the way I am, offer this link to people, because for me, I understand that for other people it works. That's fine. If you're happy with it, you're happy with it. But for me, it doesn't. So if it doesn't pass my smell test for myself and I wouldn't use it personally, I'll never recommend it to my audience.
Right.
So I hit up private internet access myself and said, listen, I've been using you guys for years already. I love your VPN. Can you guys make me a deal similar to what IPVanish is offering? Because I'd rather promote you guys, because I would like to make some money, you know? And they gave it to me. You know, they asked me for my YouTube channel link. They saw how many subscribers I had. They gave it to me, and I started, recommending that right off the bat.
Yeah, they're definitely a great company. I do like, there's some features they have with their VPN that I really do like. And I actually, you know what, I'm probably going to hit you up after this interview or this conversation or whatever it is and talk to you about them, because they do have some features that I've wanted to test. But yeah, I'm probably going to be hitting you up later.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's basically, at that point was when it was probably when IPVanish hit me up that I realized, like, okay, I understand. I'm starting to get it, how people make money, on the platform. And I just said, all right, then as my subscriber count grew, people wanted to send me boxes, remote controls, like I did. I did a projector review. I did, like all kinds of stuff that people send me. And there are times, though, where people have sent me stuff and I've accepted it based on the specs, and then I go to use it and I'm like, this still sucks. And I'll literally email them back, like, if you want me to send this back to you, I'll send it back to you, but I really don't want to put this video out. because this thing sucks, honestly. Like, just being 100% blunt with people. I'm like, and I won't put it out. But then there's the backside to that too, because I get all these offers and things like that, and I turn them down. There was a particular box company that's out still today that sends me emails probably, I don't know, 3-4 times a week saying, please, we want you to review this box and we'll give you $30 for every box that sells if you put the link. And I tried this box and it's horrible. It sucks. I'm not going to do it. And they also kind of like, I don't want to like throw people's names out there like that, but
come on.
the company kind of lies to you and swears you're going to get free IPTV forever.
Oh, yeah.
They email me 3 times a week minimum, and and I'm like, no, I email them back all the time. I've seen other people already do it. Why do you want me to do it? It's not for me. Like, I'm good. Thank you.
Stop. I had a live stream talking about it, kind of from a couple different perspectives. I mean, yeah. So we're very familiar with that. But I mean, what was the next transition for your YouTube channel after, from it being a tool just to share information and kind of help you save time? Where did it go from there?
After that, once I realized that I could, help people and at the same time actually turn it into some form of profit, I kind of went hard in that aspect. So I started, trying to figure out the algorithm for YouTube and going, all right, let me make ads. And this was before they were striking you for streaming content, so you could kind of put up whatever you wanted. So, I started doing different segments. I had a segment called Cody Gems, where I took add-ons that weren't so popular that I thought were awesome, and I made videos on them just to bring them to light. And then I did, and all these things. I was primarily using YouTube ads to make revenue, while at the same time going, I'm going to highlight this and bring it to the end user. And then maybe their Cody experience can become better. So it was like a twofold. I would never want to make money hurting someone. Like, that's my kind of moral compass. But if I can make money helping someone, then I'm happy with that, because we all need money, right? It is what it is. But I feel like there's ethical ways and unethical ways to do it. And that's a whole other topic, because there's plenty of like unethical YouTube stuff that goes on. And then there's, more ethical areas. But I always, for myself, just said, how can I ethically make money? And I would work really hard at trying to figure that out. And, ironically, the thing is, no matter how hard you work, I find this YouTube to be so bizarre over time, because, you guys know the rules change, what's acceptable changes, the algorithm changes, and you're stuck there going, I created all these prior videos on, monetizing it towards this algorithm, the way that it worked. Now the algorithm changed, and all of a sudden these videos that were getting lots of views are getting less views. Now I need to make new content under the new algorithm changes until that algorithm again changes. And it's like, do I go back and try to re-edit the videos and all the tags and everything to make them still work for a new algorithm, or do I just let them die? It's a constant battle on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And, now with the scrutiny that we have, you almost can't show or say anything. So your battle's even worse. I mean, I got strikes literally for videos that were 2-3 years old. Like, somebody went back and said, this video strikes are good. Well, guess what? When I made it, it didn't. Nobody was like, you know what I mean? Nobody said anything then. Yeah. So I've gone back to the beginning of my channel and removed videos myself before, because I already had like 2 strikes in whatever period. I think it's like 3 strikes in 90 days, and they can shut your channel down or something like that.
It's funny, right? Because I use TubeBuddy, right? And it shows me, because I have the browser plugin, any YouTube channel I go to, it shows me how many views their total channel has gotten, right? How many videos they have and that kind of stuff, right? So I was actually uploading a video last night, and my girlfriend was looking at my laptop, and she's like, you have almost 2 million views on YouTube? And I'm like, yeah. And then I go over to Rojas's channel, and she's like, Rojas doesn't have 2 million views. I'm like, it's different, because Rojas went back and he deleted a lot of his content. I said, if you look at my YouTube channel, it says I have almost 250 videos. I mean, to me, it feels like I didn't make 250 videos, because I've done it over a long period of time. And Rojas has, I think, 150, close to 200 videos, and he's done it in a lot shorter period of time. So that's not the total views that he's gotten. But a lot of us, I mean, yourself, Jugs included, there's been a lot of people in the community who have had to go back and wipe the slate clean. I mean, Rojas wasn't always known as Rojas. You probably knew him by a different name on YouTube back then. He was going by Cody Tutorials, right? And a lot of people that we talk to on these interviews or on these conversations don't even know that he was Cody Tutorials. So there's a lot of things that we have to do as preventative measures on YouTube to kind of stay on this platform. Some of us change our names, some of us delete our contents, and some of us have YouTube delete us for us, unfortunately, right?
Sure.
And we see a lot of people who in the community that have had their channels completely removed, all their content gone. I know one of my friends, New Tech Evolution, has a channel of over 500,000 subscribers, and a few months ago his channel was completely gone. He started a new one, and now that second channel is close to 100,000 subscribers. Probably, I think it was close to 50 last time I checked. But then he fought with YouTube for over a month and a half, and all of the views that you get in that month and a half that you no longer got are gone. You can't get them back.
Nope. Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, and this doesn't just pertain to us as streamers, like streaming community. I think it's worse for us probably due to the scrutiny that's presently around. But I follow a lot of photography is a big thing for me. I love photography. I follow a lot of photographers on YouTube, and I listen to them complain about like how their videos get demonetized. I'm like, how? You're just showing your pictures.
Yeah.
You're showing them. You're showing photo shoots, how you set up your camera, how you do that, and how the hell does that get demonetized?
Yeah.
Like,
last night I released a video on a new application that just came out, and it's such a strange thing. So I released it without any description and without any tags, and they're like, green, monetized. I'm like, all right, cool. So I went to one of my previous videos and I literally copied the descriptions and the tags of a video that they monetized. And then I saved and they demonetized the video. And I was like,
dude, to this day now, ever since they hit me with those strikes and they made me like, I couldn't go live for 90 days at one point, so I could only upload. And during that time, I tried to do like almost a video a day, except like, you know, and I did it for a while, but then I was just like, all right, I got to chill. But during that time, like when I came back from that, I noticed that my recommendations were down on my videos, all kinds of stuff, and my views were lower because it wasn't on recommended pages anymore. And I think you had mentioned to me a while back you had the same problem next level.
Yeah, I still do.
And I'm getting recommendations for anything now that I write shield in. If it's a NVIDIA shield, the recommendations fly up. Anything else, still low. It's kind of weird. But you know, and you can never figure out the algorithm because by the time you sort of do, it just changes. It's something in it changes, and it's a really weird place to try to make. You know, whether you're trying to do it full time and make a living, or just make extra cash, supplemental cash. It's almost like a whole other job to aside from the content making, just to figure out how to do it and monetize it is like a job in itself.
For real. It is. I know it's crazy because a lot of us make content not for the views, but we need the views, not for money. We want the views to help people, because what's the point of putting out this amazing content that we have and nobody watches it?
For sure.
You know what I mean? So it's not really about the monetization, but I was kind of curious. So you said within the first month or two, you hit 20,000 subscribers on YouTube?
Yeah.
It
was probably like 6 weeks. Of YouTube. I had like 20 to 25,000 subscribers in 6 weeks.
So when you started seeing those numbers, how did that change your mentality for your channel?
At first, it didn't right away because my objective was, you know, I had a family that was kind of annoyed that I wasn't spending enough time with them. So that was still my objective. But once I started to make a little bit of money, it made me say, you know, like, can I make this worth it to actually spend the time? Because it will provide a better life for my family. And if I can do that, then the time spent becomes worth it to do more than just make videos that answer people's questions.
Right.
So I gave it a run, and, you know, it worked out, you know, like where, you know, I could go on and say, well, if I just spend if I take like 1 or 2 days out of the week and spend a couple of hours doing, I love the live shows because people have questions. They come in and they get answered immediately. And I would leave my shield up and I'd go in and I'd show them the answer to their question, and anyone could come back later and view that and get the same answer to the question as it's happening, because you kind of got to stay current events in that realm. It's like somebody who has a question about a new add-on. Okay, I have the add-on loaded on my shield now in a build or just in plain Cody, and it's like, boom, here's your answer to your question. Here's how you install it. Here's how you do this in here. Here's how resolve URL has changed. Here's how you do that. Here's, and people are coming in because they're frustrated. And I love that concept. I feel like I've always been a person that works better on the spot.
Yeah.
Like if you want me to sit down and plan out a whole show and record it beforehand, I feel like my content is not as good when I do that. Because
I can really relate to that. I mean, if you've watched my live shows or Rojas's live shows when I'm on there, I can get really long-winded and I get pretty in-depth. And I've had other YouTubers come to me like I'm going to throw them under the bus, but New Tech Evolution, he'll literally tell me, you're too advanced for a lot of the people that watch my channel as in his channel. He's like, I make videos for the beginner, the basic people, and you're just too advanced. And apparently I go into too much detail, but once I start to help you, I'm going to tell you everything I know.
Yeah, I'm the same way, like I've always been that way. And I get comments too, like even from users, they're like, this video is too long. I'm like, it's too long for you. That's fine. For me, I've always looked at teaching. There's two different ways you could do something. You can make a fast video, and you guys all know this because we've all made quick videos before.
Yeah.
And if you make a fast video and you say, okay, someone wants to install this app and they need to do certain settings in, say, their device to make it work, you're going to go A, B, C, D, E, done, 10-minute video.
Uh-huh.
There's no explanation as to why you did A,
right,
why you did B. So to me, that's not teaching. That's like telling someone how to be a robot.
Yeah.
And for some people, that's cool. Like they don't want to learn, great. But that's not what my channel is for. My channel is for learning. So I tell those people, if you want a 10-minute video on how to set up an NVIDIA Shield and you have no desire to learn what each item in the menu does, my channel's not for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you want to understand why moving a millisecond slider changes the sound coming out of your soundbar, I'm for you. You know what I mean? Like that's how I do things.
I laugh because I had people asking me for what felt like a year to come out with a TV Zion video, right? And I didn't. And obviously when I come out with it, it shuts down, but that's not the point. I sat down to record this video. That was my fault. I know it was all my fault.
It's always your fault.
When I sat down to record that video, I actually recorded it in 8 different parts with over an hour of footage. Because I explained everything in the settings. And then I had so many people commenting and they were like, I thought I knew how to set up this app, but I had no idea. Yeah. You know what I mean? But
I did the same thing. Like,
sure, there's YouTube videos out there that are 10 minutes long. Go watch those.
Yeah. So I treated cinema in the same fashion, the same way you did. You did that. I did the same thing for Cinema HD. And that was another video I got a strike on. But,
okay, so here's another question for you, I guess. I know I keep just hitting you up with these, but you took about 6 weeks to get to 20,000 subscribers. At what point did you get your first strike, and how many strikes have you gotten in your YouTube career?
Oh man, community guideline strikes, I think I've had about 5 or 6. Actual copyright strikes, 2.
Okay.
But I had those 2. I had those 2 within like 40 days of each other. So I was like, damn, if I get a third in the next 50 days, I'm done. So that's when I went in and deleted a bunch of like older videos just to make sure I didn't get that one. And I kind of laid low for the next 50 days and just said, let me pass that time frame until I can go log in and see that it's no longer in that time frame anymore. So, and then from then on, I've been very careful about what I put out on YouTube. It's changed my approach to creating content.
100%.
you know. And it's not for the money, because I mean, I'll be totally honest with you guys. Like, I don't even care. Like, I don't make that much money on YouTube. Like, my YouTube ad revenue is the highest I've ever made in a month is like $1,200, literally.
I hit that.
You know, and I'm sure like Rojas makes more than that probably, but you know, like, he's got way more subscribers than me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, I don't. That's not game changing. Like, yes, that's helpful income. You know what I mean. But that's not going to be like I can quit my job tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But there are months where I make $300 if I'm not very active on YouTube. I don't. It's not the money for me. I put that caution into the channel because I want to help people. I want to continue to be able to help them.
Right.
And I'm also, my mind is built in a way where I always want to defeat the system. Like, that's just my mentality. So it becomes a game to me almost, like, in my mind, to say, YouTube has put this, you know, limitation on me. How can I still put the information out and they can't do anything about it? You know?
Do you think it's that drive to beat the YouTube algorithm and the issues with, you know, copyright content or all that other stuff that kind of pushes you to stay positive and to continue to be a creator on this platform?
Sure, that's part of it. You know what I mean? Like, I was that annoying kid in first grade that was like, but why is the sky blue? Why? You know, like, that's me. Like, I want to figure out any puzzle that's put in front of me. That's just the way I am. And that's what goes back to like hustler mentality. It transfers over into that. You know, if I lost my actual job tomorrow and needed to make money, sure, I'd be stressed. But I have full 100% faith in myself that I'd figure it out.
Yeah, me too.
Because I always have. Like, that's just what it means to hustle. Like, you're gonna hustle and take care of yourself no matter what you got to do to get it done. You'll find a way. You know, and a lot of people aren't built that way. It's unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is.
I mean, society tells us not to be that way.
I think it does. You know, and to some extent, you know, society will tell you not to be that way in certain areas, and then to be that way in other areas. There's so much contradiction in the way it works. You know, when you work for a company and that company is making money off your work, they want you to be super energetic about it. You know, you should be so gung ho to have this job and be so whatever to do it. But when you go to do it for yourself, there's not that as much positive reinforcement 100%. to tell you to do
because
it.
The company owns you. You're a number to that company, right?
Exactly. Yep.
You don't actually belong. You're just a cog in their wheel. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. And they can replace you. You know, I got guys in my company. I mean, my company now is in so much like hurt, you know, financial hurt. And I've been there for almost 21 years, close to going on 21 years. You know, I'm here till the end. You know, you guys are either going to tell me time for me to go, or the whole business shuts down. Like, I've put that much. I mean, I started there when I was 19, and you know, I have put my blood, sweat, and tears into that place. I started off as just like a bottom of the barrel employee, and became like the lead employee in the department that I worked in, but still an employee. Then I became the manager of that department. Then we merged with another department as things started shrinking and economy started going, and I managed 2 departments. You know, and I continue, you know, that's just, you know, I guess pride in what I do, and, you know, pride in myself. I mean, I hate using the word pride because technically that's considered a sin, but you know, if you use pride in the right way, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's like, you know, you should be proud of the things that you put your time and effort into in your life. So, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's not about making yourself better than anyone else. It's about you being able to live with you, because at the end of the day, you are who you've got when, you know, time runs out. So,
what field are you in?
I work for the media.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I work for the, you know, the media. I actually work for a heavily conservative media in New York City, which is an interesting thing because, you know, most people think of New York City as like a highly liberal area,
Uh-huh.
but I work for the largest conservative media group in the entire, you know, actually in the entire world, probably when you break it down, but definitely in New York.
Top food chain of the what Jesus Latter-day Saint things. That's you, right? You're in that whole.
Like, I mean, listen, who I work for and my actual beliefs are two different things.
You're right.
But they provide my check. They feed me. They feed my family. Working for them, and I'm fine with that. And I'm a very I like to consider myself a very open-minded individual when it comes to just about anything.
Mhm.
I'll be quick to dismiss something if it's total bullshit, but I'm more than willing to sit down and talk to someone about any view they have, whether it's just streaming related, political, anything really, just morals, and I do it in a way always where, I'm not going to yell at someone. I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to be whatever. I listen to understand, because to me, that's the only way we move forward, period, in anything that we do, whether it's work, whether it's politics, whether it's your home life. You got a girlfriend or you got a wife. You can't listen just listening for a point to disagree with someone and then go, gotcha. If you do that, no one gets anywhere. You got to listen to truly try to understand another person, and no matter what you're talking about. Otherwise, there's no point in listening, because you've already pigeonholed yourself into this, like, I just need to be right. And that's such a terrible mentality to have.
Yeah.
It's so hard for people to admit when they're wrong, and it shouldn't be. So many people have a problem with that. Like, if you're wrong, you're wrong. It shouldn't be a problem to go, you know what, I'm glad I was wrong. Why? Because I grew from being wrong. I learned something new because I was wrong. You have to look at it from your own self point of view of growth, instead of looking at it like, damn, I was wrong, I feel ashamed or something. Everyone's wrong sometimes. Nobody's right all the time.
Right.
It should be,
and say sorry for everything.
yeah, like I mean, if you're always wrong, you might want to take a look at your life and make some adjustments. But if even if you're wrong 50% of the time and right 50% of the time, that's okay. As long as you're learning and growing from it.
Well, I think the main thing is you have to understand that you are wrong, right?
Yeah. You have to admit
you're wrong. There's some people out there who can't even fathom that thing as a possibility. Me be wrong? Get out of here.
Yeah.
There's also certain jobs that they do the aha, I got you. Well, not the last place, but 2 jobs ago, I used to work at this hospital, and I was doing data and reporting analysis. So my whole I want to say my whole department, it was me by myself doing what I was doing, and they decided to break me off and a couple other people off and create a performance improvement team, and they pulled in the quality auditors into that, and their sole job is that, haha, I got you. It was literally, that's what it was. It's the worst thing I think anybody can do. And this is the one thing that my boss at that time, the director, I thought originally he was one of those type of bosses that said, here, let's lock and go together. In time, I found out he was like, you go do that and I get the credit. And I found that out, and him and me were actually really good friends for like the first year and a half. Like we went to Vegas, we were going to bars, we were UFC fights, we were like he got his flight license, and we were flying freaking all over California, and it was just like we were homies,
Yeah.
and I challenged him on that, and I'm just like, so he runs the call center, and all the calls that come through to schedule doctor's appointments or whatever, everything goes through this one giant hub, and he was in charge of all of it. I was in charge of the whole, like numbers, anything that has to do with how to make things better and for them to understand money wise and patient wise and care wise. That was my job. So I was always trying to find ways to improve stuff, not to catch people and say, dude, like, you idiot, you know? So these quality auditors, I like my process was, if you're there on a phone call, you're talking to a patient, they're screaming at you because we have in here in the west side of the United States, this hospital has been groundbreaking with a lot of stuff. They've actually sent, I know, I'm pretty sure you've heard of Cleveland Clinic. They're huge with a lot of stuff that they're doing. And they're the ones that launched like a lot of things with this program called Epic, and a lot of things with like the general hospitals everywhere. My hospital was the one that took that system to a whole separate level. And now a lot of places in the United States are now using that new platform that was based off of things that I was testing and a whole team that was putting together like testing. And I'm like, think about this. If you're there taking a call, we're booked out for freaking 6 months that they can't see the doctor. We can't even get them a secondary because we're booked. And they're being yelled at. They're being yelled at. Think about this. They're there helping them, trying to look for stuff, look for all the doctor's appointments. And then they get an email that said, hey, you made a mistake. Make sure you correct this within the next 24 hours and make sure you talk to your supervisor to review this. It's there's like 5 slaps within that email. And once you get one, they switched it to, they called it an alert to make it, to soften the blow, Once they get 2, the first one was like a warning. The second one, you had to talk to the manager. The third one, performance improvement plan.
Oh boy.
It was like, bam, bam. So as soon as you got that first warning, you're like, oh crap. And the way it's kind of like YouTube.
It's like, I was going to say, it's like YouTube striking.
Yeah. Bam, bam. And then you had to wait a cooldown, right? The cooldown for this, you're going to love this one. As soon as you get the first one, 1 year.
1 year? What the hell?
And I'm just like, I was like, I'm like, no. Like, so they formed this performance improvement plan, and I was the positive one in that team. I was the one that was leading that we need to change this because it just doesn't make sense to hound on people like that. So the first thing I said was, look, let's make categories. And within those categories, let's list them. Hey, just like YouTube, depending on what you're doing, does this deem like a very serious mistake? Is this more of like, well, it could have been, but it wasn't, we're good? Or is this one like, okay, dude, we know you needed your coffee and it's freaking 7 o'clock in the morning, you're good, you forgot to spell the like something stupid that doesn't make sense. So I created this whole filter thing where if they got it, and then we didn't even call it alert, we ended up calling it oh my gosh, I think it was like correction, or it was something different. And that's the other thing too. I threw a survey monkey out to the whole team. What do you guys want to call this? We don't like the word alert. What do you want to call it? So, and I think everybody voted on just like a simple correction, yeah. So we ended up doing something like that, and the morale got so much better.
Yeah,
it was different.
To me, I'm 100% on board with you. I feel like in every environment, whether it's the home environment, work environment, whatever it may be, like I'm always looking for the most positive way to change something, or if someone did something wrong, the most positive way to get them to change what they did wrong or understand it, instead of negative way. Because bringing down morale on people, whether it's in your house, whether it's at your job, whether it's whatever, is never productive. It's not going to make someone have a desire to do better.
Now, I will have to ask, though. With your experiencing doing what you're doing, media and all that, and everything that you've learned, going through this whole YouTube venture, um, if you could, I know you said you've been with the company for 21 years.
Mhm.
If you could, and let's just say let's just say something presented itself where you're just like, let's say it matched your media income plus half of that.
So
Would
like
you?
a 1.5 times raise.
Yeah, 1.5.
Okay.
Would you do this whole YouTube, social media networking, social marketing, whatever you want to call it, with all these multiple sources of income? Would you stick with? Would you do YouTube, I guess, full time?
Yes. Although, I mean, because I'm working for myself, I always find that better, like that. If I could make the same money, if I could live like, comfortably just doing YouTube, I would quit my job in a heartbeat. It's not like, whatchamacallit? It's not like we, I also, I mean, I do love what I do. Don't get me wrong. I love, the, I love the, what's the word? The creativeness of what I do, but I can be creative on YouTube. Um, it's more or less like the idea of working for myself has always um, been something I just would rather do, because I feel like that's what we need more of as a whole, not only in the country, I think in the world, but definitely in this country, is more people that are entrepreneurs, starting up businesses, creating jobs for other people eventually, even just doing successful for themselves. Because if you if you can do that, you can change the structure of the economy. You can change the structure of power. You can change. You can. I mean, we all know that economy really rules the world. It rules every country. It rules everything. If you have a strong economy, you're technically a more powerful nation than one that doesn't, or you're in a good spot, to be a healthy country. And I've always been interested in that kind of stuff. I've always been a very analytical person, and I feel like if you can run your own economy, because we all have our own economies, which is our own bank accounts, our own, sources of income, and you can factor that against our own debts and say, I'm doing good, or I'm doing bad. I need to improve something here. That kind of stuff has always been something that I feel like once upon a time. I mean, I know Next Level's in Canada, but I'm sure he's heard the expression, the American dream.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, the American dream was to like own your own house, but it didn't include being an entrepreneur. It didn't include running your own company. It was
Right.
just make enough money to have something that's mine.
Mhm.
Right.
And I feel like the American dream isn't that anymore. The American dream, well, that's still a great thing to do. And tons of people would love to do it. I feel like in our culture, the American dream has turned more into being your own boss, running your own business, along with having that house and having your family and doing whatever. That those are, and there's a big subset of culture. I know it's a little off topic from where we've been, but there's a big subset of culture that has the American dream as an appearance now. Like it's almost, and I look at that as like a fake dream. It's like I have no money, but I look like I have a lot of money. I
Right.
look like I'm successful.
It's the whole oh man, it's the whole it's that so the word used to be fame, where people
Yeah,
would get fame. Now it's called clout.
clout. Yeah,
They try to go on Instagram, and it's actually very, I don't know, for I think it's kind of sad.
I do
I
too.
think
I think
I
it's
think
very
it's sad. People go and especially there's a new way of exploiting women now. I know women have fought like to get their rights and to get this and that and all this respect, but then you know, like back in the 80s, 90s, you had rappers that were, hey, bitch this, bitch that, look at my hoes, and yeah, and then they had these half-naked women, and then they would get mad, like, no, we're not a piece of item, we're not a piece of ass, we're not a piece of this or that. And then they turn around and they put the skimpiest stuff, they put sometimes revealing, sometimes, you know, there's not enough to the imagination at all nowadays. Like, you go on Instagram, you go on TikTok, you go on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, like, it doesn't even matter where you go. And where it was men putting the women up and say, hey, you know what, here, we'll pay you, but here, this is what we need you to do. Now women are just saying, you know what, we don't need the man to do this anymore. Now we're just going to go ahead and do it ourselves. And it's just like, this is the same stuff you guys were fighting for. And
it's interesting.
Huh?
It's very interesting you bring that up, because I was actually just having a discussion with my wife about this recently, and her viewpoint on it, you know, like I said, I always listen to understand and I listen to learn, is that, you know, she doesn't walk around dressed like that. And she doesn't, you know, she loves like the music, like Cardi B, whatever. She'll listen to WAP all day. You know what I mean? She won't do that or dress that way, but she has no problem with women that want to do it, because she says, you know, in her mind, you know, she's a woman. She's going to be, you know, she's going to have somewhat of a feminist thought to it. She says, you know, those women have taken the power away from the men that used to exploit them to do it, and they're doing it themselves, giving the men no power. And I said, you know, that's one way to definitely look at it, and that is also true. I mean, I don't know if that's what Cardi thinks when she makes her music, but you know, like, mature women can make that choice and do that, and I'm fine with that. That's your choice, because if you're doing it that way and that's what you think is happening, and that's, you know, that becomes another thing that you're technically like fighting for in a way to, you know, you could, as ironic as it sounds, if you walk around in skimpy outfit, if you're somehow empowering yourself or women by doing so, or that's what your goal is, then more power to you, I say. But then I think there's a whole other subset of the culture where, like, especially with the youth today, like people younger than you know, me, that think that stuff like sex is not important at all, and they just, like, there's a lot of like, and I see this because I have a daughter who's 21 now, and you know, stepson who's 19, and I have, you know, friends with kids and whatever, and they grow up totally different views and values than I had. Even though, like, we were raised by people that instill different values, it's just because they go out with their friends and they have this culture now. I see a lot of like kids that like basically have sex with their friends like that's normal. You know, like younger, you know, 19, 18, 17, and that's okay, and they'll just go back to being friends tomorrow because they both needed something in the moment and it was cool and nobody's upset about it. And like, to me that's weird, but you know, what am I supposed to say about that? I can't change a culture. I can't change, you know, any of that stuff. So I never look at it from a judging standpoint. I look at it from like, this is what it is. We can try to show people different things, and hopefully they'll look at it as objectively as I do.
Right.
And that's kind of how I approach any topic or any, you know, subject. But initially I thought like what you were saying, and I was like, it doesn't make much sense because you're fighting for these rights, and now you were mad that you know, when my wife sat me down and said, well, this is how I see it, I said, you know, that actually makes sense too. And if, you know, if we listen to understand, even if you don't necessarily 100% agree, you as long as you can say that's a point that has merit, whether I agree with it or not, you can learn and grow from that and not be so angry. I feel like a big problem in the world, and definitely in America right now, is this anger. Everyone's angry, and everyone's taking that anger out on their fellow citizens, and it's a really ugly time. And that's a big problem, and it's way worse now than it's ever been in my lifetime. You know, I look, it disgusts me, honestly. Like, I mean, I see brothers, cousins, people that used to be best friends, literally willing to come to blows and screaming in each other's faces over like politics or things that and I'm just like, wow, like that to me is never acceptable. Like that's your blood, that's your best friend, that's your whatever. You guys grew up together. You're like throwing it away because of an environment that you're placed in right now. You know, they're forget about like politics as a whole and what you view side to side or whatever, because people like to look at it like it's some sort of competition. Just look at human behavior. I examine that before anything else. And I say to myself, like, you know, when did all this anger start? Who's responsible for all this anger?
Yeah.
You know, and that I don't care if they're Republicans, if they're Democrats, if they're whatever. I care about who's making people this angry. That person needs to go. You know what I mean? Like the anger just needs to subside. And I couldn't, if it was a Democrat, they gotta go. If it was a Republican, I don't care. You can't have a society this angry and continue on this way for God knows how long. Everyone's just becoming more divided. And it's the world too. It's not just within America.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, like China is more and more angry with us, and we're more and more angry with China. And I don't know who Canada's beefing with next level. You guys are generally pretty quiet, but I'm sure somebody doesn't like what you guys do.
No matter who America's beefing with, by treaty, we're beefing with them too.
There you go. See, so you know, it's like, well, America's going to come to our aid if there's ever a problem. So I guess we got to go along with whoever they're beefing with. We're on the same side. And to end the show, I just want to say that I think being here today is a great experience. And I think that what you guys are doing is awesome for the community. And not just the streaming community. I hope that other people tap into your platforms and, you know, your podcasts and every place that they are, that somebody finds these things, and that you guys, because everything I've seen so far from the channel is positive. And I think that we just need more of that. So I commend you guys for starting a channel together. And I think it's awesome because I've spoken about this with other people, and not many people would do this because you guys are going to end up with a subscriber count, you're going to end up with revenue, and you're going to end up with whatever. And you guys are going to have to work that out.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to stay positive while you do it. And I'm sure you'll disagree about some stuff, but you guys chose to go ahead and do that together, you know. And I'd love to do that. Like I wish that like I honestly wish that like I knew you guys were doing this, and I probably would have did it with you. Like I love that kind of interaction, you know. Like it's such a refreshing thing to see in a community, whether it's streaming or just the United States or the world. Literally so damn negative now.
Yeah.
And you know, so I thank you guys for doing this, and I wish you guys the most success possible going forward. And you know, anything I can ever do to help you guys, let me know. I'd be more than happy to do so. You know, I'd love to have you guys come on my show one day, you know, as well, and chop it up just about anything. You know, maybe take live questions. That would be kind of cool. You know, whatever the case is, and you guys, if you ever do, you guys can feel more than free to take my show and put it on your podcast. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, like, I just think it's very refreshing. You know, I'm always looking at the community. I definitely commend you guys. So thank you for having me on and being a part of what you guys are doing right now.
You know, Beyond the Streams is really exactly what it is. Beyond streaming, we're all people. We all have our own experiences. We all have our own, you know, things that we go through in our life that we can share. And no matter if people find us outside of the streaming community or within the streaming community, everything can be relatable. No matter what, we're people at the end of the day.
We just showed that today. Like we went across so many subjects, and we could almost always tie it, even politics. We could tie back to streaming or YouTube or how. It's all because of how people act and how they behave. You know, it's human nature and behavior and adapting to make yourself better.
Yeah. So with all that being said, I hope we didn't offend anybody. I hope we didn't. I know there's so many things that we did discuss, and we tried not to we're not here to be politically correct on anything. Everybody here has their own opinions on stuff, and everybody out there listening has their own opinions on stuff. And that's okay if we can't agree with two different things, you know. Maybe the color is purple, maybe the color is lavender. I don't know. We're so we don't really care most of the time.
That picture of that dress back in the day. Oh man.
Yeah, back in the day, is it gold or is it blue? But you know, with all that being said, wherever you guys are either listening to us in the different platforms, or if you are on YouTube watching this live, make sure you guys do leave us comments below, because we even if we don't reply back, we do read every single one of them, and we appreciate your guys' feedback. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. And Lee, I'm really I'm very excited that you were able to come and be here, part of the Beyond the Streams. So with all that being said, a couple things that we say here is, you guys out there, take care and take care of each other.
Stay humble and be patient. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
What's up, guys? Thank you.
Out.